Life on the island. We're on the island out here, and life on the island is grand. It's grand. Now, first of all, I'm going to start this video off with, I never admit to offend anyone intentionally. If you put yourself out there in the public viewing area, then I have every right. So that's all I'm going to say about that. And I had a couple things happen this morning. First of all, I got up, and then I made the coffee, and then I turned on the news, and that's when I got the big surprise. Okay, Mr. Obama was somewhere in Normandy doing this speech, right? And he's talking about how the American, you know, and it was the greatest generation, and they did their duty, what they had to do. There was a lot of brainwashing back in that era also. You have to remember that. People were country bumpkins mostly, and just fell for anything easily. It's not so easily done now. But it was the greatest generation. It was a huge operation. It was just stupid and unsuccessful, if you ask me. When you lose 8,000 people on the beach, it's not a successful operation, and the equipment and the money that had to go into that. But anyway, those guys, it was incredibly horrible, just like all war. And they were ripped apart. But anyway, Obama's saying they did this so we could have peace. They died. They hit this beach. All this was human sacrifice on grand scale. That's all it was. The whole World War II was, as well as World War I, and all the wars going back to when Adam killed Cain, Cain killed Abel. Now, Adam killed Cain. But anyway, he's saying they died so we could have peace. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, we've had more wars since World War II in this little time period on the timeline of the human existence on Earth than any time in history. And so what he's talking about, they did this for peace. They didn't do this for peace. Let me tell you something, most World War II people would turn over in their grave, and most of them see what's happening today, and it's a good thing they're just so out of it, because of their age and things like that they don't realize what's going on today. It's better like that. And the ones that do, they're very angry. I can tell you what, my uncles would be angry. They fought for freedom, and look, all we have is slavery through the usury system. That's all this is. The people that fought World War II were the common farmer. That's what my family was. They were the common farmers. They didn't have any money, no material things. They were brave. They were always good with guns, because we had a lot of guns here in America. And a lot of people lived off the land and knew how to hunt, so being in those conditions, they could survive a lot easier than people that come out of the city could survive in those conditions. But it's just ridiculous, And here's something else that's ridiculous. To see Obama saying that on the beach, he should have said, well, we've had more wars since World War II, and we've really fucked up a lot of people, a lot of things. We killed life on a grand scale that couldn't even be imagined in any other time in history. And now we got nuclear capabilities that can wipe out everything. And believe me, they're going to use them pretty soon. There's going to be an exchange. I always say it's going to be Israel. Israel's going to launch against somebody just for the hell of it. It's going to be limited, and it's going to be, it's going to be like everybody holding back. It's going to be that limited exchange, a little bit of radiation over the desert or something where nobody, just the Bedouins live, just fuck them over, and a bunch of other life that's not even counted. I don't know. Okay, that's that subject. Now this subject, Detroit. Now, of course, the jobs reports come out today. I'm talking about the economy because I'm really pissed about this stuff, because everything's going up. I paid $4 a gallon for gas today. They think everything's going up. And they tell us that energy isn't counted on the inflation index, or food. If you notice food, the boxes are the same size. They're just putting less food in the box and charging the same amount of money and telling us, well, that's not inflation, that's not a cost, it's not going up in price. Then what do you call it? If you have to buy more, if your toilet paper has 20% less toilet paper on it, and you got to buy 20% more toilet paper to make up for the toilet paper you don't have, then that's a price increase. My God. Okay, now, and that's what's happening right now. So the wages aren't going up, but everything else is going up. Now, Michigan wants to put a tax, new gas tax. Now, what about the old gas tax? The old gas tax in Michigan has one of the highest in the nation. It was supposed to pay for the roads. What happened to that money? What happened to all that money? And now they're going to another gas tax to fix the roads, and they're telling us they took a poll and everybody's for it. Yeah, that's a bunch of crap bullshit. Geesies. And the car bubble. One more thing. just pissed this morning. I don't even want to get on Fukushima. And I got to tell you, a white kingfish making a deal with the mafia over there in Fukushima to bring dirt in. That episode's coming up. Sell it to a company building schools to fill in for the swampy areas. Now, car bubble. We're building cars like crazy, and the factory orders are up. But okay, no, they're leasing cars like crazy. Now, who owns those leased cars? Pray tell. The thing is, I seen a photograph in California or Nevada, somewhere out there, in an abandoned airport, and they had all these lease cars that had been turned in, and there was just miles. You can see, as far as you can see, were lease cars, and they don't know what to do with them. Who owns those cars? Because when you lease a car, there's nothing wrong with leasing. I mean, I'm not going to put anybody down for that, but it's part of the revolving door that gets you in this, and you can't. And it's hard to get out of it, and people don't realize. And when you pay a lease payment, you're not even paying the interest on the loan for that car. That's how cheap the payments are for a lease now. You're not even paying the interest. Now you're going to pay a high insurance cost, and they probably in cahoots with each other to get the bucks, the money. Look at this is beautiful out here, man. Beautiful. But who owns these leased cars? Well, I'll tell you, what happens is the banks buy the cars mostly. Some dealerships, they do have the money to buy some of these cars, but not all of them. Leased cars, I think, mostly is the banks. The bank gets the money from the Fed. The Fed gives the money to the banks to buy the cars. When you lease a car, you go through a bank. You don't go through, you might say Chrysler Financing or something like that, but it's really not. It's a bank that you go through, a third-party bank, or a second-party bank, even. And they own the car, and when you turn it in, they still own it. It's like written in an apartment. When you move out of the apartment, the person that owns the apartment building still owns that apartment. You just leased it for a while, and if it remains empty, he loses money. And these cars are remaining empty. Nobody's buying the lease cars because even after 2 years, the payment is so expensive that nobody can afford it. And especially when the wages are paying nowadays. And it's hard to afford transportation regardless, and rent and everything else. I mean, on the wages we're getting nowadays, of course, there's no benefits. Everybody thinks you can just go to Obamacare, which is a joke. It's just paying more. It's just another tax. It's just another tax. That's all it is. Got to pay for those FEMA caps somehow. Anyway, that's my news for the morning. There's a car bubble coming, and this economy is. Oh, here's another tidbit. The Social Security money. The Social Security is basically funded by those bonds. They've been taking money out of the Social Security for years. Back to Bush and Clinton and those guys, and funding it with United States bonds. The bonds, the big ones, and billions of dollars worth of bonds. And they figure, they'll always be worth money. They're not making much interest, but it's just money that was sitting there anyway, right? Well, my generation, man, we're going to be screwed, man. If the dollar loses value, those bonds are going to lose value. And what's going to happen to Social Security? Man, and the older folks that I see now, my God, if they got cuts and things like that, they would devastate the whole United States. Anyway, this is Duck Out. I got to make sure I don't hit any animals here.